There seems to be some controversy brewing when it comes to the 2027 Memorial Cup. You'll remember 2 weeks ago the surprise around the Ontario Hockey League where the Guelph Storm were named the host for the tournament next year over the Kitchener Rangers, who were seen as the heavy favorite because the last 3 years it feels as though we've been talking about how the Kitchener Rangers are likely going to host the 2027 tournament. But the selection committee voted 4-1 in favor of the city of Guelph, who's also celebrating their bicentennial. So it all seemed as though, okay, we're focused on the celebration of 200 years for the city of Guelph, and it's going to go along with the Memorial Cup tournament. And now we've got the Kitchener Rangers raising some eyebrows here, as 2 weeks later they've have some concerns about how the whole bidding process played out. So what happened was, last week, there was an announcement made by Hockey Canada that they've entered a 3-year agreement with the Sleeman breweries, who are Guelph based, and they're the name on the building that the Guelph Storm play out of, the Sleeman Center. And with that, Joe Birch, the chief operating officer, reached out to the Canadian Hockey League as they had some concerns about the optics around this, as the city of Guelph being named the host for the Memorial Cup. And then a week later, Sleeman, a big company out of Guelph, and the name of the building, and now being awarded this 3-year contract. And it's quite the extensive deal, as this will provide the brewery with, reach with Hockey Canada over the next 3 years, with contacts with tournaments and whatnot, played both in Canada and internationally. So the Kitchener Rangers wanting some clarification here from the Canadian Hockey League, and it's it makes sense, because when you see something like this happening, you wonder, okay, is there a conflict of interest between the Canadian Hockey League and then deciding who hosts the Memorial Cup? And Dean McIntosh is a senior vice president of revenue and fan experience for Hockey Canada. He was actually a part of the announcement with Sleeman, and he was also one of the voting members for the Memorial Cup. So that's where it's not really sitting well with the Kitchener Rangers. And the league has responded. They After the Kitchener Rangers reached out, they said that they looked into the matter, and to protect the integrity of the process, they say that everything was submitted anonymously with the votes, but they didn't see any way that this would become a conflict of interest. So they see no wrongdoing with the vote when it came to the Memorial Cup, despite this new tidbit of information coming out after the fact that the tournament has been decided. And they give them credit. They looked into it, although I know some are like, well, you're just investigating yourselves. And another situation of optics comes up where people can see this and be a little concerned about, okay, what's going on here with the whole bidding process? And does this mean that because of Sleeman having this contract, which they say they've been working on for months, did that tilt the scales here for Guelph winning the Memorial Cup bid? Personally, I don't think that's a factor, because you're making deals all the time. Hockey Canada is always looking for new partners, and it sounds like this partnership was brewing, pun intended, I guess, before the city of Guelph City Council announced that they'd be putting their financial support behind this bidding process. So the Kitchener Rangers they just want to make sure that everything is on the up and up, that there's no funny business going on behind the scenes when it comes to the CHL Memorial Cup bid, because both teams put in fantastic bids, is my understanding, from both the Rangers and the Storm. It's just, it'd be nice, I think, if the league maybe would have held off on the announcement with Sleeman, because the optics don't look the greatest a week after you just named Guelph the host of the Memorial Cup. And it's going to be no matter what, they say that the whole results are final, so there's no way of appealing the decision of the host venue. So it's just the way it's going to be. So I know there's some Ranger fans who are still pretty upset with Guelph winning the 2027 Memorial Cup bid. We saw all the comments online about how the Memorial Cup is going to be played at the mall, but at this point, it looks as though nothing can change in regards to this. It's just a whole optics thing that doesn't look 100%. You just hope that everything is being done correctly, and not some deals going on that are tipping the scales. You just hope that that's not the case. But I just wanted to report on it here because I saw the article. Kitchener, CTV Kitchener first posted this yesterday, and I figured, okay, this is probably worth talking about here on the channel, just because it's pretty fresh, and I know that it doesn't seem, like I said, the optics just don't seem right when it comes to just the way the announcements were made and how everything went about. But the Canadian Hockey League telling the Kitchener Rangers and also the media that the decision is final. They did an investigation and everything seems to check out. So that's where they're leaving it. But love to see your comments down below. What are your thoughts on that, especially if you're a fan of the Kitchener Rangers? Does this now ruffle your feathers a little bit more now that we know this deal's come about? But yeah, let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on this. A couple of other news items. The London Knights have announced that PJ Fagan has been released and was picked up on waivers by the Sherbrooke Phoenix of the Quebec Maritime Junior Hockey League. For Fagan, only 8 games this year, just 1 assist in those 8 games. And with Fagan going off to the queue, this is going to give him some more ice time playing with the Phoenix. So he was kind of in a spot where just a numbers game with the London Knights, so he'll be able to get more ice time in the queue. And then if you look at his time last year, he only appeared in 44 games. The London Knights, 2 goals, 3 assists, 5 points. But that was a really deep London Knights team. So for PJ Fagan, rather, had some difficulties cracking the lineup. And for the Knights, it sounds as though they tried to find him a home in the Ontario Hockey League, but they decided to put him on waivers. He cleared all other 19 teams and was then picked up in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, or Quebec Maritime Junior Hockey League. Try not to make that mistake. We also know that the 2026 World Junior Hockey Championships are just around the corner, and we're starting to find out the preliminary lineups for each team. Canada has yet to announce theirs at the time of recording. Watch them announce it after this post. But right now, Team USA announcing, and there's 3 OHLers who've been invited to camp. That includes Henry Burstevich of the London Knights. We also have AJ Spellacy of the Windsor Spitfires, and then Chase Reed of the Sioux Greyhounds have all been invited to Team USA's camp. Slovakia also announcing their lineup. Jon Hovan of the Sudbury Wolves, he's been given an invite for Slovakia, along with Alex Mishiak of the Erie Otters, and we also have Thomas Popazol of the Kingston Frontenacs. So those are your invites for Slovakia. And then for Czechia, we found out that Vladimir Dravetsky of the Brantford Bulldogs has been invited, along with Jakub Fibiger of the Brampton Steelheads. And you can also include, as I go through the roster list here, that Adam Benok, he has been invited from the Brantford Bulldogs, and Adam Novotny of the Peterborough Petes, all invited to play for Team Czechia at the World Juniors, which of course take place in Minnesota this year. And we'll wait and see who's all going to be invited. For Team Canada, I'm expecting that list to include quite a few players from the Ontario Hockey League, as we've got the Hunters. They're in charge of the rosters this year. So I'm expecting quite a few OHL players to be trying out for the team this year for the 2026 World Junior Hockey Championships. So those are the news items for today. Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts. I know that the Memorial Cup controversy is an interesting story. I think it's just poor optics is what it had. They probably could have waited on announcing some of these deals and whatnot, or maybe announce that deal before announcing Guelph as the host. But it is what it is, and it gives us a chance to have a conversation about topics such as this. So thank you very much for all your support. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Talk to you again soon.